raise their hand, we'll get Mike to go try and first, please.
Not just the turnovers, obviously.
Yeah.
Just the turnovers, obviously, were the singular difference in the game. It seemed like.
Yeah, no
To start
question.
the half, you guys were getting stops, but just weren't able to take advantage of the
Right.
offensive possessions that followed. Was that really game turnover?
Yeah, at halftime, we thought we were in a good position. We thought they played pretty well. We had 7 turnovers at half and really talked about having, team, a total of 10 for the game and really challenge those guys. And we had 4 turnovers before the first immediate timeout. So our inability to play at times, like we'll go 3 or 4 games and be perfectly fine. And then our inability to stay consistent and not turn the basketball over has really hurt us, especially on the road. And, we were fortunate at Northwestern. I think we had 14 and we were able to still win the game. But, out-rebounding them by 10. Their leading rebounder had 3. We shoot 53% from the field. If we just give ourselves more chances, I like our odds in this game, but we didn't. And you got to give Michigan State credit for their defense.
Matt, you've been through so many of these of this zone. Okay, it was just kind of your typical Michigan State Purdue war, wasn't it?
Yeah, no question. And I think last time we kind of had the same scenario. I'm drawing a blank. The kid that's with Charlotte, the lefty, it's really good.
Miles Bridges.
Miles Bridges hit the same kind of 3 in front of their bench at the end right there. So, but yeah, when you play Michigan State, and especially this is kind of different for us, obviously, as a one-time playing them so late in the year. Like, now, like you go through and normally you play people twice and you see somebody early and you kind of adjust. It's not who you play, it's kind of when you're playing. But no, you're going to have to battle. I was proud of our guys the way we rebounded. I thought we did a good job on the glass, and that's always tough to out-rebound a Michigan State team. But yeah, we've had some good battles through the years.
Was there a breakdown defensively on the 3-point shot at the end?
Yeah, you hit it. There's the breakdown. We switched 5 ways. When they went small, you've put yourself in a tough spot with Hauser and Malik Hall, because now if you go regular ball screen defense and they pop and empty a side, now you got to rotate to them and stuff. And so we were just going to switch 5 ways, and Travion's done a good job throughout the year in some special situations at the end of games, low clock, and being able to switch. And so we had some help for him there driving, and he just dribbled in, knocked down a 25-footer. You got to give him credit.
Well, while they scored some points off your turnovers, you alluded to it a little bit, but just how it hampered your offense when you shoot over 50% in this game.
Correct. Yeah, we're a good offensive team, but if you turn the basketball over, you're going to create points for the other team. And I don't say that to take anything away, because I think a big part of it from your perspective is always your team. You don't ever look at it like, well, maybe it's just good defense. And obviously it is good defense. I think it's a little bit of both, but we didn't give ourselves enough possessions. If you sit there and look, at shots, they took 9 more shots than we did. Obviously we go to the free throw line more, but we should. I think we have a matchup that's causing problems. So just one of those things where you got to give yourself a chance, where you got to play. You got to play really good. You got to play really good when you have 17 turnovers and they have 10.
Yeah, obviously, Zach and Travion had big games in the paint, but what did Michigan State's defense do with Jade, particularly Hogard? What was I think he had 5 turnovers, but
Yeah.
what was the root cause of that, do you think?
Yeah, well, I think the turnovers are, I'd have to go back and watch each one of his 5 turnovers. I thought he did a pretty good job. We liked the matchup we had with Zach. But when you constantly turn it over, he has 5 and Travion has 4, you're not, we run a lot of stuff. We're not going to keep coming back to you all the time. So part of that is, us not coming back to them as much, either one of them, because they're turning the basketball over. You want to be able to run good stuff, get a good shot, and be functional. Anytime you're getting good shots, you should be able to have a chance to get some offensive rebounds. But no, Hogard did a good job as a, big physical guard. And I think Jaden's ability to get by people, it just depends what they want to call. Like other night, he shot 18 free throws. He was just getting by him at will. But when, they talk about freedom of movement, and like they really were on freedom of movement. You don't have freedom of movement on the road. You got freedom of movement at home. So we had freedom of movement at home. We don't have freedom of movement on the road, but it's the same for everybody, right? So he is such a weapon with his ability to get by people. He's a very good player.
There was a moment where I think you gestured towards Newman after a timeout. You pointed him, you kind of like gestured him to get up. Were you about to sub him into the game, or?
No, I did not. I was motioning to the person next to me.
Okay.
Matt, you've known Tom for so long in so many different ways.
Yeah.
your thoughts on him tying Knight with the most wins at a Big Ten school?
Yeah, it's a big deal. You know, when we were, growing up, I grew up obviously in Indiana. He was it. He was it. He was the best coach in America. He was the best clinician. Him, Hubie Brown, Larry Brown, like those guys were, just spectacular. And the time they spent and going to the clinics and, things of that nature. So to pass an icon like that is huge. He's an icon. So it's, and it's staying at one place too, which I'm fond of. And so I just like, the fact that he could have went a lot of places and he didn't. And, the Big Ten was able to get that reward. Anytime you can have consistency, it's a hard thing to do, especially in 14 schools. Like, how can you be consistent and be great when, you're upsetting the apple cart after 3 seasons if somebody doesn't win enough games and stuff like that. But if you stick with people, I think a lot of people around here probably forget his first 2 seasons, his first 2 seasons, but they stuck by him and, obviously he took off from there, won Big Ten championships, won 10 cents. He's been great, won 8 Final Fours. So it speaks for itself, but to be able to pass him, it's one of those things that, I grew up in Indiana and I just thought Gene Cady and Bob Knight would be the coaches at Purdue and Indiana forever. Like, you didn't think anything different, it's kind of the little kid in you. But like, that's kind of the way people in Michigan think. You can take a 26-year-old man in the state of Michigan, the only thing he knows is Tom Izzo's been at Michigan State. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But congratulations to him. I just wish it wasn't at our expense.
Obviously the turnovers were part of it, but how much of a challenge was it keeping them out of the open floor when you're having to get all your points at the rim?
Yeah, no doubt. You wanted more of a balance. Like, they stayed physical down there, and they kept, grinding it out and staying one-on-one. And we just wanted to keep coming at them to try to get them into change it. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And they just stayed home with everything and just kept playing physical with our bigs and just hoping, they'd get that call. And, Zach's just got to learn, and it's difficult for him when they get physical with him, and when he thinks they're fouling, he can't foul them. And so, like, he thinks that's, it's kind of a grade school, theory. But he gets mad. They stick their knee in him, they hit him, they push him, they do, and then he thinks he can foul them. So then he comes back to the bench, and we tell him, like, no, you are fouling them. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. But you can only fix yourself. Like, you can't, like, let the coach complain if they think those are calls. You can only fix yourself. And so I just don't like getting into that, like, with him or with Travion. It's like, hey man, it's the game. It's part of it. Be physical, be able to take your hits and score the basketball. But you can't retaliate and elbow people in the head when you have the basketball and expect good things to happen. And those 2 things he got in the first half, he's got to keep his composure. He doesn't have to get a layup every time. He's got good post moves. Sometimes you can shoot a jump hook. So we just got to grow in that area. So, we're not counterproductive.
But just having to play through the post so much.
Yeah.
How much of a challenge is that to transition defense?
It's not bad. You're not having long misses when you shoot at the rim. Like, sometimes the hardest thing is when you do shoot threes because you have those long misses and those balls, kick out right there. And if you're not, secure in the back of Michigan State. So I'm not worried about that. It was more the turnovers in my opinion. I haven't watched the tape, but like, we just had a couple plays where I think Walker picked our pocket once. He goes and gets a free one. We have a couple others right there. Like, those are the type of plays that you just can't have. Like, you just can't have run out, layups. They had seemed like a handful of those, and those are the ones we gotta, work on.
Last one.
Matt, early in the game, Gabe Brown, kind of stopped.
Why has he got to hit him against us? I don't understand that.
How key was that early in the game?
It's huge. Huge. We had an overhelp, and he got a big 3. Just when you're struggling, it's different when you're struggling and you think you're a good shooter and you're really not. He's a good shooter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's worked really hard. And like, you can see the confidence he built in that first 15 to 20 games. And like, he was feeling good about himself. He was shooting with people on him. He was triple threat and shooting. He's in rhythm. I love guys that can shoot the basketball. And then he just got out of it a little bit. But they only need that one make and that crowd to kind of get him going. I know he didn't have 20 points in this game, but the punch he gave him really helped him, and it got him off to a good start. So that was huge. Gabe really did some good things, and it's frustrating. He had a couple curveballs at Iowa, and when you're a good shooter, curveballs. Bad shooters shoot curveballs. Good shooters don't shoot those shots like that. And he was just in a rut, and it only takes one game for a good shooter to get out of a rut. Once again, I'm upset it's at our expense, but, you know, yeah, give him credit, he made some huge plays.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.